Hello again, my name is David Watts from Lenovo Press, and have with me today Russ Resnick. Russ is the worldwide segment manager for 1 and 2 socket rack and tower servers. How you doing, Russ?
Pretty good, David. And yourself?
I'm good, thanks. Yep. So Russ is at his house, and I'm at my house. This is the Lenovo Press social distancing edition of the walkthrough video. And Russ, today we're going to be talking about the ThinkSystem SR645. This is our new 2-socket 1U server, right?
That's right, and he uses the AMD EPYC 7002 series processors.
Right. Yes, yes. So what sort of customer would find this useful? What workloads are good for this on this system?
So the first workload that comes to mind is virtualization, given the core density and the memory footprint, but also databases, software-defined storage. Another one would be HPC or scientific computing, just once again because of the high core count and the large memory footprint.
Right. Being a 1U system too, it's quite compact considering how much processing power there is in the system.
Right.
So yeah. So we're gonna go through it. We're gonna look at the front of the system first, spin around, have a look at the back, and then look at the internals. And we've got a few components to show you along the way as well. All right. Sound good, Russ?
That sounds great.
All right. Very good. So at the front of the system, you can see this particular configuration has 10 2.5-inch drives. The server also supports 4 or 8 2.5-inch drives, or you can actually use this configuration also supports 3.5-inch drives as well. 4 3.5-inch drives, right, Russ?
Right.
Yep. And these can be SAS or SATA or NVMe, and some configurations we support any bay drive bays as well. Any bay being the term we use for a drive bay that supports SAS or SATA or NVMe, depending on which you want to install in it. Over on this side here, the usual array of buttons and LEDs, power button with the LED integrated, operator panel with LEDs showing status and activity and so on, an optional VGA port there, 2 USB ports, that's USB 3.1 Gen 1 and a USB 2 port. Russ, the USB 2 port also doubles as local access to the xClarity controller service processor, right?
That's right. So if somebody has a phone or a tablet with the xClarity mobile app, they can plug into that port and use the xClarity mobile app to control the xClarity controller on the system.
Right.
We also, there are some customers that are not comfortable with having tablets or phones in the data center. So to alleviate that problem with this server and its 2U companion, the SR665, we now have a remote diagnostics port.
Right. Yes. So that's what this is here. This is the diagnostics handset. You hold it in your hand, and it plugs into this diagnostics port here on the front of the system. So what this does is you plug this in. You may have one of these, perhaps, Russ, not for every server, but maybe you have it for an entire rack, or maybe for every row. Perhaps you might have one of these. It has a very handy magnet on the back, so you just simply mount it on a nearby rack cabinet, and it will just stick there. So
right, and using the display and the buttons, you can toggle through a set of menus that will show you IP addresses of the server, the xClarity controller, show you if there's any possible errors in the system, and show you system status. It'll give you fan speeds and temperatures, those kinds of things, which can be very useful in diagnosing the system without the need for taking the server down or bringing a phone or something into the data center.
Now there's a third option too for configurations with 8 hot swap drives, 8 2.5-inch hot swap drives at the front. We also offer this choice here. It takes the space of 2 drive bays, but it actually gives you access to that functionality through an integrated display, an integrated diagnostics panel. It pulls out and folds down like so, and it gives you access to those same buttons, the same display, the same information that you would have in that external handset. So that's another option as well.
That's right.
Yeah. So that's the front of the system. Let's spin it around and have a look at the back. Okay. Right. So Now this system here has three, this particular configuration has three low profile PCIe slots. All the slots are PCIe Gen 4 because the AMD processor is a Gen 4 processor. And each of the slots is by 16 bandwidth, a number of lanes, 16 lanes. This particular configuration is three low profiles, but the server actually supports 4 different combinations. So there's the three low profile. You can get a configuration which is 1 low profile and 1 full height slot if you desire. There is a configuration where you can have 2 2.5-inch drives, hot swap drives at the back here. Russ, you might use those for boot perhaps, or for additional storage.
Right, but we have another option for boot drives as well, which I think we'll get into.
Yeah, so this is the 4th configuration, is that instead of having 2 2.5-inch drives consuming 2 slots, you can actually have this new capability. These are 7mm drives, hot swap again, but these only consume 1 slot. So Russ, why would you want to use this?
Well, as you said earlier, instead of a pair of 2.5-inch bays eating up precious, slots on the back, you can use these SSDs, and they can be NVMe or SATA, and they're hot swap out the rear. So instead of having an M.2 boot pair inside the server that you really can't hot swap, these can be hot swapped.
Right. Yep. Exactly. So that's a very handy new capability if you're looking for boot drives that are accessible at the rear of the server. Yep. Okay, so the server also has at the back this an OCP slot. OCP is our LOM Ethernet LOM solution. We have offerings that are 1 gig, 10 gig, or 25 gig capability, and very easy to remove. As you can see, I just simply unscrewed the thumb screw to remove it. Accessible from the rear of the system. Doesn't consume one of the 3 regular PCIe slots, so that's quite handy. Also on the server is a dedicated Ethernet port for remote management. This gives you remote access directly to the xClarity controller. At the back, further along, 3 USB slots. Each of these is USB 3.1 Gen 1. We've got a VGA port over here, and then 2 hot swap power supplies. As normal, we have a variety of power supply choices. This is 750s. We also offer 550, 1100 watt.
That's right.
There's the is it the 1800 watt? I think is the high end.
I think so. Yes.
If you have a very large configuration, you might need the 1800 watt power supplies. Those are all hot swap, of course. So so that's what's on the back of the system. Now let's have a look inside the server. Let's imagine, shall we, that this system actually has processors and memory installed. So slot space for 2 AMD 7002 AMD EPYC processors. The system has 32 DIMM slots, so that's 16 memory DIMMs, Russ, per processor.
That's right. So each processor is 8 memory channels, 2 DIMMs per channel.
Yep.
Gives us 32 DIMMs. Mm-hmm.
Right. Yep. And so, for example, if you're using the 128 gig DIMMs, then that's a large capacity. That's 4 terabytes of memory can be installed in this system if you so
right,
desire.
and along with 128 cores is a very dense system in a 1U.
Right. Now, if you imagine, if you will, the processors all have a standard heatsink on them that covers the processor. The thermals have been designed very thoroughly on this system, and one of the choices is a new performance heatsink that has 2 additional satellite heat sinks just behind the fans, and those allow us to support up to the 280 watt processors that AMD now offers. These satellite heat sinks go right beside the fans and provide maximum amount of cooling to give you that cooling necessary for those high-end processors and things like GPUs as well, right?
That's right. And we've also done a video for the 2U version of this server, the SR645.
Yep.
And in that video, we have the 2U version of that heatsink. So if you're interested in seeing on what that heatsink with the radiator looks like, you could see the 2U version in the video of the 2U server, the SR665.
Yep. The server has up to 8 hot swap fans. Those are very easy to remove as part of our servicing mechanism. That's easy to do. Now, I would also show you in front of the system. Let me spin this around so you can see it a little bit better. This server has the M.2 and a new RAID form factor in front of the fans, and these don't consume any of the rear PCIe slots. So M.2, we mentioned at the beginning, earlier in the video, that this is an internal offering which gives you 2 M.2 drives. We have them installed here, and this is another option for operating system boot drives if you wish. What's interesting here, though, is this new compact internal form factor RAID card. This is the 94016i. It's cabled rather than goes into a regular PCIe slot. It's cabled through to NVMe ports on the system, but allows you to then to give you a high-performance RAID solution without actually consuming any RAID slots. So that's any PCIe slots. So that's a very handy and good use of that space. Unfortunately, the 3.5-inch form factor configurations, you can't put that RAID card there because there's physically no space. So that RAID choice is for the 2.5-inch drive bays. Yeah. So I think that's about all we have to cover in the system.
Yeah,
right?
I just want to mention that we offer security bezels on this
yes.
server and the 2U, which is a lockable front bezel.
Yes.
And there's
yes.
also now an intrusion switch. So if someone
right.
removes the top cover, the Xclarity controller can send an alert.
Yes, so yes, so some important physical security features of the system as well. Yep. All right, so there you have it. So this is the ThinkSystem SR645. It's our 2-socket 1U server with AMD processors. Russ, thanks very much for your time.
Hey, thank you. And David, typically, at this time in the video, we talk about the Executive Briefing Center in Morrisville.
Yes, indeed. Yes.
And currently it's closed for physical briefings, but it is open for virtual briefings. So if you have an interest in seeing more about this server and others virtually, please get hold of your Lenovo seller or your Lenovo business partner, and they'd be happy to arrange a virtual briefing.
Yes, indeed. Excellent. Yes. All right. So there you have it. I should add too, if you're looking for more information, we have a product guide. The link to that will be in the description for the video. Hope you found the video useful. Russ, thanks for your time.
Thank you for having me, David.
Yep.
It's nice seeing your house today.
Yeah, it's good to see you too. All right. See you later. Bye for now.